Good morning, freedom fighters. It is 5:55 a.m. East Coast time, December 28th, 2024. I have to watch every word I say or I'll be removed from YouTube, just like I have been with 20,000 plus followers on Twitter for showing the technology of controlling the weather. The most censored topic of all internet is controlling the weather. This video will produce enough evidence we could go to court. Where is our law enforcement? We must stop this. People are getting sick, and I think I know why. Stand by for the most censored commercial fisherman in all the world. What you're looking at is a document that came out in 1996, owning the weather by 2025. Came out in August of 96. Truly incredible information in this, but it's dated, reflecting stuff off our ionosphere. They can energize our ionosphere. You know what I mean? They can create high and low pressures. Stand by for some incredible information. Please do not get bored. We need to save the planet. People are becoming sick. There's no birds, there's no bugs, and I have no fish in the sea that provides seafood for people. Stand by for a nightmare of a commercial fisherman and someone that lives in nature his whole life watching it die. I don't live inside a box called your house. Every one of these patents can be looked up. Systems for weather modification. They call every one of them abandoned. This one here is not, it's active. The last one was abandoned. Here's your 5G HAARP towers. In my opinion, these are your HAARP towers I see pinging. Your next res, these domes can house any technology. It says fiberglass domes and weather controlling satellites. Who rules space will rule the world. And if y'all haven't looked at Starlink map tracker, y'all need to look at it. Let's pause and look at that. As you can see, the new train they just put up a few days ago. This is the largest weapon on the planet, in my opinion, and most likely why I got removed from Twitter. But let's move on. I haven't got to the one that's abandoned yet, but we know that they're not abandoning these technologies. This is the greatest weapon ever created. They can wipe you off the map and just call it Mother Nature. Every Google patent that I show can be looked up. These frequencies are very familiar, aren't they? Let's go to live radar. I got a lot to show y'all today. Let's go to live radar. I can show you these exact waves right now. What are they doing in these storms, creating these waves? Why is our radar systems turned up so much in these storms? Why are we having tornadoes in late December? I cannot remember having Christmas tornadoes. This is live over the southeastern United States. Massive frequency burst coming from Louisiana. Every which way coming out of Alabama. These storms are being attacked by microwave energy. In my house right now, it's 74 degrees. Outside 64. I don't have the heat on. Why is my house warmer inside than outside? I mean, my AC's been running all night. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense unless you're microwaving our houses. Let's zoom in on this nightmare of a system. Everybody be safe. They're creating tornadoes like we've never seen in the winter time. Mute off. So many questions I want to ask our meteorologists. Why are the microwave energies turned up during the storms? Are y'all trying to look through the storms? What's the purpose of turning up this technology near the storms? You know what I mean? Let's zoom in on this even more. And I want to explain how your microwave oven was developed. They were creating next-rad radar systems, and one of the scientists had a candy bar in his pocket, and it melted it. They're creating energy that can light off storms, create steam in the atmosphere with microwave energies, just like boiling a bowl of water in your microwave. It will steam and then rain down. Very large microwave pulses coming through Alabama here. Let's zoom in a little bit more. It just looks so unnatural, even how these storms are moving. And the microwave energy seems to be creating the rain, I guess I could call it. I'm not sure how you would say it. But let's put on our super famous scientists explaining how our atmosphere is their laboratory. These microwave energies are always just in the storms. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. To me, it looks like they're influenced in storms no matter what the scientists say, no matter what your lying weatherman on TV says. Very dangerous storms being created. My poor uncle has had day after day of massive storms over Louisiana. I fish these waters, have been since 1995. They have poisoned our entire Gulf of Mexico, but when I do studies on fish die-offs, it's worldwide. It's in every country. If you look at my genocide videos, they're sad. We're losing all life on this planet while mad scientists play God. Very important information this man mentions, and I'm not even sure where I got this from now. I could probably find it, see if I saved it. It's in one of the links is somewhere. But super famous actor that claims to be a scientist.
Into the sky.
But he's going to explain to you how they create weather. And here is the bill that they're talking about. Space-based weapons. We just showed you them. Very terrifying information in this. So let's go to the scientist and let him explain what they are doing in our atmosphere. Just a 2-minute clip of the scientist speaking.
Never forget, this bill in 2001 referred to chemtrails as an exotic weapon. Again, this is HR, stands for House of Representatives, HR 2977, okay? And this is about a bill to stop and restrict weapons in space. Scroll down, you will soon see exotic weapon systems such as electronic, psychotronic, and information weapons. 2. Chemtrails. 3. High altitude, ultra low frequency weapons, which is actually basically 5G like weapons, EMF weapons, more like 3G, 2G. Boom, laser weapons.
Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong.
Boom, laser weapons, strategic, theater, tactical, or extraterrestrial weapons, and chemical, biological, and environment, and climate or tectonic weapons, which they have all of. This means they can make earthquakes, they can make hurricanes. This bill never passed. This was a House of Representatives trying to get the word out about this stuff. It's right here, plain to see. Look up these terms, look up these keywords, look up this bill, HR. Never.
Sorry about that, guys. This mute thing's killing me. I wish I had a big thing on the wall that says mute. But what I was just saying is that look how many different modification things they have here. Just so many patents on modification. And why are they trying to remove the CO2? That's what I was saying there. I really hate when I make a mistake, but I am the unedited, unscripted, backed by no one commercial fisherman that can see the truth and have the evidence to prove it finally after all of these years. People has tried to stop this. This is in 2001. We are being lied to, my friends. Your weatherman today, if you watch the weatherman, I have not watched him in years, but he is a liar. Every single one of them needs to be arrested. Oh, I'm so angry at what they're doing. I cannot believe they're calling it this crap. We're in a crisis right now. This is just hours ago. Beware. Well, how about the big elephant in the sky? When I mentioned that the material could cause Alzheimer's for Phil Robertson, they removed me for a week. I cannot mention these words. This is the law of the land. I am protected. They're not supposed to censor me. I can have them arrested. When anyone speaks against this, they need to be arrested immediately. When they say our Constitution no longer matters, they need to be put in prison immediately. This is the law of the land. You need to read it. This is your rights. Not many countries have these rights. They're so important, nobody even knows what it is saying and what it really means. The First Amendment's first for a reason. And the Second Amendment is just in case the first isn't working. We must realize what these laws are here for. That's why it's second, because it backs up the first. And once they take our guns, they will march us to the train or just turn the gas all the way up. We are already in the gas chamber. They don't have to march us to the train. I'm afraid we are already in the gas chamber, my friends. We are already all dead. We just don't know it yet. I fight for everything. Your children, the birds, My fish, all I wanted to do was provide seafood. It's no longer there. I can ride for days and not see any fish. Uh, that was. So there's a pot of fish here and there, but that's all of them. Used to be miles of fish, miles and miles. I can show you videos of it, but they're not there anymore. There are so many artists that has tried to bring out this information. Contrails, military secrets, talking about U.S. controlling the weather in the 40s. Chemtrails, I'm not even sure the language of it. All of these people are talking about weather control. Even this one here, they turn into monsters from the chemtrails. That's a really good song I like to share with y'all. And don't let them divide us by the terms rap, reggae, rock. That's to divide us. Music is the people's way of speaking, but they took over our music. They put out garbage. Don't get me wrong. There is garbage music in every genre. But the message of the people is very important, no matter how they get it out to us. Rapping is just rhyming. That is music. We've always been rhyming. Y'all let the beat to scare y'all away in a heartbeat. I want to play this for y'all here at the end, but I got something I want to show you that I created. Stand by. Just before we get to that, I want y'all to realize there is heavy chemtrailing all night long offshore of San Diego. Non-stop. This was at 9 o'clock our time last night. But they sprayed all day, all night long offshore of California, bringing in the new weather here. Thank you to the Warriors at 17 minutes. I know this is difficult to bear, having the weight of the world on your shoulders, no one to listen to you. Trust me, I understand. But I want to show you a few minutes of my hard to bear the weight of watching our planet die right before my eyes. I just want to show you 1,000 birds. It's not bird flu that's killing these animals. 1,000 birds died overnight in Chicago this year. That's not bird flu. 200,000 birds was found dead in New York City alone. That's not bird flu. Massive bird die-offs. Just watch a few minutes of this and realize that we are losing all life on this planet, and your next TV show or movie is not important any longer. Your next electric bicycle or car is no longer any important. Nothing is important anymore besides your health and your children's health. Look up, they are spraying you. Massive bird die-offs are taking place. I'm not imagining there's no birds here in Florida. It's winter. We are losing all life on this planet, and I cannot scream loud enough. My cousin thinks I'm crazy. I told her, "You think I'm crazy for being angry? I think you're crazy for not being angry. Why aren't everybody mad? We should be putting down the remotes. Quit watching football. It's all scripted. Even their injuries are scripted in football. They've said it, not me. The football players said it. This is recent. This is very recent. These birds are dying. Look at 1,000 birds die in Chicago in one night. They call it bird flu, but it has nothing to do with bird flus. There's no such thing as bird flus. And most of our flus are man-made from Fort Detrick, Maryland. I've already showed you the evidence of all that. Talking about forever chemicals killing Texas cattle. This was 4 days ago. It's the spray. No animals can take in this. I told my cousin I'm going to die soon. I know it. We're breathing in chemicals animals cannot live through. And I'm out amongst the stuff more than people that's inside air-filtered houses. Our meteorologists, our weather people need to be arrested. They're actors. Actors are paid liars, pathetic, pathological liars, in my opinion. I have never liked actors. I don't like Hollywood. Yes, they're correct. It is the top story. Thousands of birds die off across Kansas 6 days ago. Bird flu? How about chemical poisoning from geoengineering? The massive spray operations that Mike Deckard showed yesterday. It was incredible. I didn't have time doing everything I've been doing. I have barely even had time to sleep and eat right. Trying to rebuild my mom's house in the daytime, trying to fish at night. Very little fish. We caught a handful the night before last. Thank you, Jesus. And thank you to my friends that helps me go through these hard times, or I wouldn't even have a roof over my head. Uh, Words is not even enough to appreciation for people that has helped me through these difficult times of losing our world. And my battle to try to wake people up is they're so lethargic, it's not funny. We are losing our planet. Not red tide in Tampa. That was Piney Point fertilizer plant. They made it rain so much they just had to dump it, and it destroyed everything in Tampa Bay. But this is California. Mysterious lakes die off. It's not mysterious. Vietnam, fish die off. It ain't mysterious. I know why. Texas coast, fish die off. Russia, fish die off. It just keeps going. We are losing our planet, and if I cannot get the scientists to wake up to what they're doing, the mad scientist that is in control to wake up, we are going to lose everything. Your precious cars and your TVs, and none of this matters anymore. We are losing all life on this planet. I cannot even provide a living for myself any longer because I provide seafood for the world. I feed fish all the way to Canada, I feed people. In Alaska, I feed people probably all over the world with our salmon. And let's not forget to mention the precious insects. The beautiful, absolutely beautiful insects. They're not scary. I mean, I must admit, I've never really liked spiders crawling on me or anything, but they're not scary. They're beautiful. We have chemically neutered our planet less than 100 years. Since 1947, whenever World War II was completely over, they didn't have anything to do, so they just started making chemicals for farming and everything else. I just showed you the farmer video that talks about how autisms went up 1,000% or whatever it is. We have autism in our family now. We've never had autism. I've never even knew of autism growing up, or Alzheimer's growing up either. And my favorite person I love listening to, Bill Robertson, and now has Alzheimer's. I'm just pleading for help, I guess, hoping I can get to the right person, the right scientist, even though they censor me on every level, remove me from Twitter for showing the hurricane maker, remove me from Facebook with 2,500 commercial fishermen on there with no strikes on any of these platforms. Just remove me. Not for sharing my material, for showing the truth. And if these lunatics don't wake up and quit worrying about being the next trillionaire, that is not the most important thing in life. You can't take it with you. But we can destroy everything before we leave, I guess. And that's where we're headed. That is where we're headed. April 2024. Insect demise means global food web. Food web. I wonder why they call it the food web. It's on the verge of collapse. Why does everything got to be the web? It's a spider web. You get trapped in it, don't you? That massive die-offs in Germany and Poland. East Walker River, wherever that is. UK. Lake Merritt. I mean, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know, I have all these books on what to eat, how to preserve food, but if they kill it all off, it's not going to do any good to have all this knowledge. Just evil. What they are doing is absolutely evil. It has nothing to do with bird flu, my friends. We need to shut the media down, and I don't know how. People ask me, well, what are we supposed to do? My cousin asked me, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you could talk about it, spread the word, instead of just hiding in your little room. I see it because I'm outside. And thank you to the Warriors at 11 minutes. I see all this because I'm outside. I've seen puffins in real life. They're beautiful. And they're talking about massive die-offs. I seen one this year. Hadn't seen one in a while. They're only on certain islands. Oh, Lord have mercy. I want to go over a couple of videos I made on the 10th. Okay, Warriors, that's the birds and the fish, but I did the trees too on this video, but I did it a little bit later down here. Let's move on to the trees. Thank you to the Warriors at 26 minutes. Some of the oldest creatures on the planet is trees. The climate change thing kills me when we know it's geoengineering. It doesn't matter where I go, I will find dead trees. When I flew into Seattle, I could see the forest, and it was sporadic dead trees everywhere. Here in Florida, you could drive around, it's sporadic dead trees everywhere. It doesn't rhyme or reason why they're dead. It's just they're dead. Shocking? They're shocking? It ain't shocking. We are losing our planet. That's what I see in Alaska. And yes, this bugs, but what are making the bugs sick? I mean, the trees sick where the bugs are taking them over. This is in Germany. We are losing all life, my friends. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know what else to say. All I can do is try to get help, but nobody's paying attention. The distractions are unreal. It is worldwide. I can't believe these scientists are shocked. I really can't. One last article. There is plenty of articles on scientists warning of not going against solar engineering. There is plenty things about geoengineering. It's not fake, and obviously the Warriors at 30 minutes. But I mean, we got the information. We know they're pumping it out with ships. We know they're doing it with aircraft. This is what needs. This guy here needs to go to prison. We need to start lining these people up. We need our peace officers, our military to stand with us. This is what's killing all life. It's not bird flu. It's not bugs. This is making the trees weak where the bugs can attack them. Chemically neutering our planet. These people are mad scientists are evil, and we gave them the control. We trust them for some reason when my entire existence of studying history says not to trust the mad witch doctors. Science was always thought as devil magic, devil worship. And it's true. These people are devil worshippers. There's no doubt about it. Only the devil would destroy this beautiful planet and not look back. Thank you to the Warriors, Commercial Fisherman standing by. I hope I should have let it play a little longer there. Oh, my friends, we're in such trouble, it's not funny. Thank you to the Warriors at 30 Minutes. Let me know if you finished this, what you thought about it. And yes, I can keep right on going here. I want to play a short clip from about 10 minutes long of a documentary that I think is very important. Unconventionally Gray. Stand by for some incredible truth of a nightmare that we're living.
University scientists talk about geoengineering as if it's some future event.
I said at the beginning, I said that solar radiation management was cheap, fast, and imperfect. The novel method is that we put a condensable vapor directly out of the back of an aircraft. We've been doing a little work on delivery. There's a study that an aircraft engineering firm called Aurora Flight Sciences is doing, and they've been looking at a bunch of different delivery options, but the bottom line is that it seems pretty cost-effective and easy to do this with aircraft that are not very different from conventional aircraft.
There are various forms of geoengineering. Some geoengineering could be related to ionospheric heating, weather modification. Specifically, stratospheric aerosol geoengineering is the idea of putting a protective layer over the Earth, reflecting sunlight back into space.
Well, all I did was look up. Those aren't clouds, but what are they? And sometimes it's a tic-tac-toe board. It's not a cloud, it's not real.
I was in Denver, Colorado, and I saw all these trails in the sky. And this is the first time I was aware of such precise trails.
I recently had a visitor come from London, and he said, "What's that crap in your sky above the clouds?"
And I asked my friend who lives there, "What are those?" And she told me planes. I told her, planes do not leave such trails. I mean, they were so evident in that sky, and it was crisp.
People think of chemtrails as being contrails, simply water vapor coming out the back of a jet. But that's just not true.
Chemtrails do not dissipate. They stay in our sky.
A lot of X's in the sky, a lot of parallels, all kinds of cross-hatching.
We've had a reduction in sunshine hours. We've had a massive increase in cloud cover. We've seen our skies are no longer really blue. They're like a particulate blue-grey. And ultimately what we end up with is extremes of weather.
It's like always using the future tense in the press about geoengineering. Well, we're thinking of having geoengineering. Perhaps we're going to have to use geoengineering because of the global warming, because of this, because of that. It has already begun.
There are various types of programs that go beyond the aerosol trails, or what people call the chemtrails. They're ship-based, we believe, disbursement of these aerosols. And they're responsible for huge weather systems being created out in the Pacific.
Something is going on, something so serious that the United States government will never, unless it is forced, to acknowledge that it is doing it.
Different particles have different effects, but the ones that people have talked about, if you inject them into clouds over the ocean, they would make the clouds brighter and also reflect more sunlight.
Even if you put 10 megatons a year of sulfur in, which is a huge number, by this model you only get about a watt, 0.7 of radiative forcing. Nevertheless, there might be some good reasons to think about alumina. It turns out, first of all, there's been a lot of work on the environmental consequences of alumina in the stratosphere. Alumina has 4 times the volumetric radiative forcing for small particles as does sulfur. And that means you have 4 times less surface area for the same radiative forcing. And this is a much bigger deal. You'd have roughly 16 times less the coagulation rate. And that's the thing that really drives removal. But nevertheless, the underlying concern, and the reason that this hasn't been talked about until the last few years, is this so-called moral hazard.
What we're finding in rain tests are the exact materials listed and named in a number of geoengineering patents, and also listed in a number of geoengineering models. Some of these rain tests, we've seen levels of aluminum, the primary ingredient described in a number of stratospheric aerosol geoengineering programs, escalate as high as 50,000 percentage points. So the numbers have just skyrocketed.
I did 3 analyses spread out over time, and on each occasion I had 80 milligrams per litre, which was quite high. Then I had 120 and the other one was 70. That was in line with the realisation that that was a lot of aluminium in the rain.
It was disturbing on Maui, where a lot of people in certain parts of the island get their water from water catchment tanks. We were measuring samples of the water and found high levels of aluminum, barium, and strontium. We then took those findings to the health department, and the health department conducted rain catchment tests. And what we found was the same average of aluminum, barium, and strontium in the rain catchment we found was the same what we were finding in our tanks, that people were drinking and using that as their water source.
We're finding the same metals worldwide. I'm only working a local area, but everything I've seen, it's aluminum, barium, strontium.
The military is spraying another substance into the lower atmosphere. The academics don't mention this because most academics are funded by government grants. When coal is burned by utilities, it produces a heavy ash that settles out. A very fine powdered ash that used to go up the smokestack. But it's so toxic that regulations mandated that this fly ash be trapped on electrostatic precipitators. And coal fly ash is ideal because sprayed into the area where weather occurs, which is where jet planes fly, the fine particles are very much enriched in the toxic elements. Mercury, chromium, just a whole suite of 40 elements, aluminum being one. It's a toxic nightmare. And that is harmful for everybody, especially pregnant women, especially for children, especially for people who have compromised immune systems or respiratory systems. It's bad for the elderly.
On heavy spray days, a lot of people have noticed sinus problems, headache, irritability, nausea. Anytime you put an aerosol up into the sky, it's going to fall into the air that we breathe. Obviously, we're inhaling this with every breath. With that, it gets into our systems.
We've seen diseases that have never been there, the cancers that are coming up day and day.
My name is David L. Lewis. I'm a research microbiologist, and I worked for the U.S. EPA's Office of Research and Development for over 31 years. In blood tests for human beings, tissue tests, we're seeing the elevation over the last few decades of these metals in the human population. And the health consequences associated with that are very serious.
Respiratory mortality went from 6 down to number 3 in a 6-year period. We see issues like Alzheimer's, ADD, other aluminum-related illnesses that have gone through the roof literally since the full-scale deployment of these programs.
It's well known that very fine particles make people live shorter lives, birth weights are lower, cancer, autism is increased.
Particularly during the early developmental stages of a child, the neurological effects on the brain and its development is of grave concern, since the forms of aluminum that are being sprayed into the atmosphere can cross the blood-brain barrier and contact the brain directly and cause damage to the brain cells.
This is all, I think, is a result of change of environment, all these toxins that are being sprayed everywhere. It's like a mass genocide that is going on here. People are not prepared for this.
Innocent people among us, their health is being damaged, and that is in my view, a crime against humanity.
There's something called aerotoxic syndrome. Now, I now have been speaking with doctors and with pilots. Many people are becoming ill. They're getting neurological conditions, they're getting extra fatigue, they're getting higher rate of cancer.
Commercial airlines fly pretty much at the same altitude or around where geoengineering programs are taking place. And those have much higher concentrations of aerosols. What they do, they pull in some air into the cabin from outside. So as a result, people are getting a higher concentration of these metals that are coming into the cabin. And we're seeing this issue of aerotoxicity. That's impacting frequent flyers, flight attendants, flight crews, pilots.
Two pilots from British Airways, both aged 43, died in 2012. This is due to aerotoxic syndrome. All the ailments of people who are now unable to fly because they are too ill to fly are consistent with heavy metal toxicity.
It's destroying our children's lungs. It's destroying our health. These are programs that are creating death.
Results of climate models indicate that reflection of sunlight away from the Earth can offset most climate change in most places most of the time. But it will damage some places.
It puts aluminum and other things in chemically mobile forms, soluble in water, so they can get into plants and to animals.
And by doing that, you're changing the whole chemical structure of fruits and vegetables and animals, and then you're eating toxic food. So the whole thing comes into that science of geoengineering.
You've got a tremendous rise in Alzheimer's, not just in humans, in bees. I mean, how can bees be suffering with high aluminium toxicity? Aluminium is ubiquitous, it's all around us, it's in the earth and everything else. It's never caused any problems before, but something has changed. But why should it suddenly start to affect the bees? Or even whales now have been found to have extremely high levels of aluminium toxicity affecting their health.
It's causing huge stress, manifesting itself in beetle invasions and in fungus invasions, and all of those are setting back our ecological patterns.
It's not normal. The environment is changing, the skies are changing.
We have a substance that is being literally poured in the air above us. Rainwater extracts aluminum, and so you have two effects from that. You have the aluminum poisoning of plants, and you have the soil pH being changed, typically making it more alkaline. This is a substance that harms virtually everything.
Everything is polluted now. You know, even the crops that we eat and then supposed to be organic, they're not organic. How do you control the skies? Your organic soil is being polluted by what's going up there.
Aluminum makes up about 8% of the Earth's crust, but aluminum is strongly bound to oxygen and to the silicates, so it doesn't move around. And so all of life developed without ever it being exposed to aluminum that could move around. And we have no natural immunity to mobile aluminum, nor do plants.
We have tree decline in all areas, even areas that are getting an abundance of rain. Those areas are testing positive for the primary ingredients in geoengineering programs. These programs are about death and destruction. And why? What happens when our forests collapse? That's the lungs of our planet.
You can see impacts on all of the trees. There are just tons of dead branches scattered throughout the whole tree, which probably reduced its canopy in half, knocked its life expectancy down probably in half. That's what got me concerned when I was working for Fish and Wildlife, that it's affecting all of our trees that much, and the trees aren't going to live as long. If they're not living as long, and then the species that use them are also impacted.
This is very common now in the Chicago area. It's about every 3 or 4 trees that we're seeing is dead in this community. What we notice in Maui is about 1/3 of our rainforest is actually dead.
Geoengineering is changing our weather, and the explanation is that By changing your weather patterns, you're changing what's normal for all of the species that have evolved there.
So let's say we were doing geoengineering because we wanted to make the weather a little bit better. Then we'd be balancing some risky geoengineering against the benefits of making the weather a little better. And in my view, the right time to wait until we did that would be infinity.
Anytime you put an aerosol into the atmosphere, it's going to affect wind speeds. It's going to affect cloud nucleation. An interesting thing is geoengineers are talking about how, if these programs were to be initiated, which they have been, how they will have to utilize and implement weather control and determine where it rains, when it rains, and who specifically gets rain.
We're already beginning to see the formation of the center of circulation. My name is Scott Stevens. I studied meteorology at the University of Kansas, and that was my first TV job was on the air was in Topeka, and then I worked in Omaha and Tulsa, Albany, New York, and then out into eastern Idaho in the Pocatello, Idaho Falls market for the last 10 years of my 20-year career doing weather. It wasn't until about 2005 when I got deep into the weather modification aspect of this story of geoengineering. One of the parts of the program that is very important that plays into the chemtrails is the precision of these actions in the atmosphere. These chemtrails are absolutely required, so they introduce the right energy at the right location for the right length of time. These trails are wires in the sky.
The combined technologies like HAARP and the chemtrails were designed to work together as weather weapons.
HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, it is filled with phased array antennas. They steer microwaves into the ionosphere where they will activate all of the ions up there.
They can use excitation waves that actually affect the metallic particles. So we've ionized the air column. They can heat it, they can cool it. HAARP has directional antennas, and they can focus their antennas on where they want to move the jet stream, and they can hit the jet stream, and they create an artificial high.
If you accentuate the high, if you amplify a little bit, it's like building a mound of dirt, and you have a little creek or a little stream of water coming. You build the mound of dirt, that water's not going to go through it. So you build the mound, and then that's going to impact storms that are inbound. And so it's very easy to add those particulates of aluminum, barium, and whatever else they want to put in there. And as you add heat to that, those particulates then radiate the heat into the atmosphere and it warms. And what does a warming atmosphere do? Boom, it expands. We see more intense droughts. We see rainfall rates of 1 to 2.25 inches an hour, and sometimes even rainfall, 1.25 inches a minute is just unheard of. And so when you get the atmosphere capable of conducting this kind of electricity, plus the engineers, you're going to end up with weather that is extreme, and that's putting it kindly.
When they move the jet stream, it then pushes up into the polar vortex. The polar vortex really can only move when there's something impacting it, like HAARP.
They can heat up that ionosphere. So when the jet stream comes in, it hits that bubble and it diverts. The jet stream flow that is normal brings precipitation and brings the jet stream right into California. And then it brings storm systems with it. It brings rain.
The jet stream got pushed off of the coast of California. It dried us up and took all our moisture away and pushed the jet stream north. And when it hit the polar vortex, it then was ricocheted straight down the east coast.
What we've been getting, very warm, very dry conditions in California, but in terms of the Arctic and in the Midwest, it's swinging all of that moisture, all that cold air.
You can kill a storm in place. That's easy to do with HAARP. You'll see the texture and the structure of the storm just melt, and it will become just this diffuse, amorphous, featureless mess. And that was one of the big epiphanies I had in forecasting. Anticipating a winter storm coming through, you've got to set forecast out that night, and you're waiting for the snow to start. You're waiting for the snow to start, and you're waiting for the snow to start, and it just doesn't. And you go outside and you see a warming zone begin to show up on the satellite loops. The clouds literally just begin to warm, and then that collapses the potential of the storm to put down the moisture. It's done. It's shot.
When aerosols, heavy metals, whatever type of aerosol it is, when they're introduced into the atmosphere, the water molecules will attach on to these aerosols or metal particulate. So instead of falling naturally, they drift. So we get droughts in certain areas, floods in other areas, exactly what we're seeing right now.
There has been precious little water in southern and eastern Africa where El Niño.
Okay, my freedom fighting friends. What else? A tongue twister. I want to go over some temperatures right now. We just seen the weathermen and what they're talking about. I know a lot of people's forecasts changed through Christmas and New Year's here. My friends that lives in North Bay, Ontario, let's go to a map here. They are literally creating the most insane winter storms I've ever seen. Chicago was just like 7 degrees a week ago or earlier this year during the fall, before winter. Fall was colder than winter has been, you know what I mean? But it's going to be crazy weather. Thank you to the Warriors of 50 Minutes. I hope y'all really enjoyed all that data. And if YouTube blocks me for showing it for 3 months this time or whatever my penalty will be, I will be on Rumble. But North Bay, Ontario, which is way up here, right here, it's 34 degrees right now. It's going to be in the 40s tomorrow. Or today. Today it's going to be 43 degrees. There's no way they're ever seeing 43 degrees this time of the year. And it will be on Friday 4. You talking about a wet, freezing mess that this will become. They're going to create the most insane weather you've ever seen. They're going to create it, though. You know what I mean? It's a nightmare. I got to rebuild my mom's house. Got to finish it this weekend. I got to go right here soon and jump on it. Somebody donated me $33, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. That would literally buy mine and my mom's lunch one day. I put every penny that has been given to me into good use, and I appreciate each and every one of you. All right, where do we go from here? I promised you a song. Don't let the beat scare you. It's the most important song against weather control I've ever seen. Can't believe how people let us be divided for just terms. You know, like rap and rock. They put out horrible music, trust me. They have taken over our music a long time ago. But if you get into the independent artists, the music is still good. Stand by. Please do not let the beat offend you.
Yeah, I was born in a concrete jungle. Born to a system that just don't care. Surrounded by warfare and corruption. A place where chemtrails pollute the air. There's no getaway from the chemical drips what them spray. There's no getaway, polluting the atmosphere every day. There's no getaway from the poisonous toxin that left the sky gray. There's no getaway. Me wonder if them really wanna hear what me say. I spy with my little eye. Chemtrails everywhere, all across the sky. Billions of people, them bound to die. The soil, them polluting the trees, them a cry. Round the world for them planes, them a fly. With dangerous toxins for kill I and I. Like barium, arsenic and aluminium and mercury. Boron and them titanium. Goodness is a Babylon, I try to block out the sun. But them chemtrails connected to them HAARP system. Never control the weather or across the nation. And they give the people false information. With them HAARP system, them causing a quick and tsunami. Hurricane, tornado, Babylon, and a massive army. And soon them a go send no feed them, please and feed them mommy. It's clear to see them wanna harm we. There's no getaway from the chemical trails what them spray. There's no getaway, polluting the atmosphere every day. There's no getaway from the poisonous toxin that left the sky gray. There's no getaway. Me wonder if they really wanna hear what me say. Yo, in the year they must spray aluminium. Say they want the population to a minimum. Plane tanks with arsenic, them filling up. Fly round the world, plenty people, them killing them. And them looking at me like the villain on. With them I look for kill about 5 billion. From Brisbane, Australia, back to Brazilian. Them wrong for kill off the innocent. There's no getaway from the chemical trails what them spray. There's no getaway, polluting the atmosphere every day. There's no getaway from the poisonous toxin that left the sky gray. There's no getaway. Me wonder if they really wanna hear what me say. Chemtrails spread through the rain and the breeze. It make you start cough, it make you start sneeze. In fact, it's responsible for many of disease and cancers, heart pain, depression and fatigue. Same for the soil, it's the same for the trees. I know what I'm talking is hard to believe. That we can't trust even the air that we breathe. That we can't trust information we receive. That billions should have never pass and bereave. And them don't give a damn about the baby what Eve. They're telling us license Adam and Eve. The truth will make you want heave. There's no getaway from the chemical trails what them spray. There's no getaway, polluting the atmosphere every day. There's no getaway from the poisonous toxin that left the sky gray. There's no getaway. Me wonder if they really wanna hear what me say. I was born in a concrete jungle, bound to a system that just don't care. Surrounded by warfare and corruption, a place where chemtrails pollute the air.
Mute off. If I can remember that every time, it'd be a pretty good video. You think they're suppressing his song? It's been out there 6 years. He's got almost 2 million followers, subscribers. 65,000 views is all it's got. Do you think it is being censored? Every genre, I guess what you call the different music, has a song. Here's a country version.
Stop wasting money on hair products that don't actually work.
Shit it. If y'all rather hear country, here's a country version.
There's a haze up in the sky, a whisper in the air, silver streaks of mystery, they're flying everywhere. Looking up and wondering what they're trying to hide, with chemtrails painting pictures in the blue and white. They're playing with the web in ways we never knew, hot solid in the background, changing every hue. It's a different kind of forecast, one you can't predict. Chemtrail kind of weather, it's making us sick. They're playing with the web, the skies are looking strange. HAARP is playing melodies that cause the clouds to change. We're visioning the fallout of secrets in the breeze. Chemtrail kind of weather got us falling to our knees. Saw the news this morning, they say it's all a lie, but the patterns in the heavens, they tell a tale so high. Static on the radio, signals in the night, they're tweaking all the frequencies. We're searching for the light. They're playing with the web in ways we never knew. Hearts something in the background, changing every hue. It's a different kind of forecast, one you can't predict. Chemtrail kind of weather, it's making us sick. They're playing with the weather, the skies are looking strange. HAARP is playing melodies that cause the clouds to change. We're dancing in the fallout of secrets in the breeze. Chemtrail kind of weather got us falling to our knees. So look up to the heavens and question what you see. In this chemtrail kind of weather, is it you or is it me? We'll keep on searching answers in the whispers of the sky. In chemtrail kind of weather, we'll uncover every lie. They're playing with the weather in ways we never knew. Hearts something in the background, changing every hue. It's a different kind of forecast, one you can't predict. Chemtrail kind of weather, it's making us sick. They're playing with the weather, the skies are looking strange. HAARP is playing melodies that cause the clouds to change. We're dancing in the fallout of secrets in the breeze. Chemtrail kind of weather got us falling to our knees. So look up to the heavens and question what you see. In this chemtrail kind of weather, is it you or is it me? We'll keep on searching answers in the whispers of the sky. In chemtrail kind of weather, we'll uncover every lie. They're playing with the weather in ways we never knew. Hearts something in the background, changing every hue. It's a different kind of forecast, one you can't predict. Chemtrail kind of weather, it's making us sick. They're playing with the weather, the skies are looking strange. HAARP is playing melodies that cause the clouds to change. We're dancing in the fallout of secrets in the breeze. Chemtrail kind of weather got us falling to our knees.
Well, my friends, we are past an hour. Incredible evidence. Let me know who finishes it. As daybreak is approaching the East Coast, I no longer recognize my planet. Almost every bit of the ocean is clouded over. And if they kill the ocean off, they're killing everything together. But I mean, if they wipe out the ocean, oh my God, it's all going to come true, isn't it? Everything in the Bible is true. Let the Bible open your eyes, my friends. It has your past, your present, and your future. And the future's close at hand. I'm afraid we are seeing the end times. Breaks my heart how beautiful it was. Commercial Fisherman standing by. I'll be working on my mom's house all day. I don't have time for anything else. Standing by. Commercial Fisherman out.